Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to my attempt to get more used to Copic markers in the background. So first of all, today I'm using this adorable stamp set called Hippo Bird Day from Clearly Besotted. This one is from the last release and I made a card quite quickly as soon as it arrived my house, but well, let's just say that I postponed the editing and the voiceover and stuff. But here I am sharing this card. Now, aside from my attempt to get better in backgrounds, I also decided to go crazy and try some no-line coloring, which has been a while, I think now. And normally I can fix that with another card or image, but for some reason I wanted to try to do this no-line coloring. Normally it's not an image that I would do no-line coloring with markers just because, well, it's tiny, especially the duck, and there are some details. It's not always easy to transfer the details with Copics. Now, I also contemplated about using some pencils to add details later on after coloring with Copics, but I didn't do that either because at the end I liked how it turned out. There were some hiccups, but I will walk you through what I did, and maybe that can help you as well in your attempt to maybe also get more used to Copics. I don't know. But if it helps, I would be flattered. So I also made some masks. This paper is from Inkadinkado, and so I just added it. I already drew in the black details to not lose it due to the fade out characteristic of the ink. Now, to limit again the background, as I did previously already a few times, I took a stencil to help me. I'm going to make a circle, well, a background in the shape of a circle. It will not be exact because I already know from previous attempts that the markers will go a bit underneath the stencil. So it's not a complete circle, but everyone knows what the idea is. It will be an organic circle. And then I took some blues and yellows, yeah, because it works. It's also some, well, these are colors that we see in the sky. And I went from right to left. Well, I'm flicking, so I prefer to flick upwards and downwards. So that's why I turned my paper around to have it this way. And then I just went for it. I drew in lines. I made it a bit, well, organic by adding a few of those darker blues lower and some of the yellow a bit higher to have really all those different sorts of colors in the sky that we can sometimes have. So I did that and I went back and forth quite a while. I also thought that I needed a bit of a darker blue on top of all of this, so I took this B99 and I also drew it in, not only on the top as you can see, a bit random everywhere, and then I will well fade it into the rest by going over it with those other markers again. So there is quite a lot of marker going on here. It was a bit of a fiddle to get it to work, but I'm really glad with the end result. So sometimes you just need to keep going, and it's something that I tell myself from the start whenever I'm now trying to do those backgrounds with Copics. Just keep going. Most of the time it gets better, so that's important to know. And so keep going back and forth. As you can see here, I still need to do that yellow again. And then there on the top, where the yellow is there, I had some difficulties getting the blend to work. It became a bit muddy, so I went back and forth there quite a while to get it, well, to work. Like that, and then I removed my circle stencil. So now that I have this, as I did in the beginning, I added those masks to prevent my images to get loaded with inks. as you know, these masks aren't really Copic proof. So if you go over it quite a bit, then it will still leak through. And that I had with that blue on the right on the ear, but it was a tiny area, just using my colorless blender to get rid of it, and then I could start on the images. Now, as I said in the beginning, normally I wouldn't do this no line coloring, definitely not with the size of the little duck, and it was a struggle. You will see after I'm doing the balloon, I will continue with the duck, and there, for some reason, the Copic Multiliner that I used for the details, the black details, started bleeding. And normally that's not the idea of a Copic Multiliner, but it happened. And so I wanted to quit, but I will tell you where exactly. And then I was annoyed. My fiance was behind me, and he heard me, and he was like, well, let me see. And he said, well, you can barely see it, but we all know, we are the worst critic of our own, um, that if something doesn't go as we intended, we know that it sort of failed in a way. And so I wasn't happy at all. It also took me a while to get the shadowing to work for the little duck here, to get all those details to really shine through. So that was already annoying. And then the right eye from the little duck started bleeding, and I was really, really annoyed. So he said, well, I cannot see it, or you can barely see it and stuff. And I was like, no, it's ruined. Really dramatic. That's how I am. And then he was like, okay, can I have it? But it wasn't finished, you know. So I was like, what? I cannot give it to you if it's not finished, you know. Here the bleeding happened. You see? Everyone sees it. It's not only me. The eye was ruined. So here I wanted to quit. Here I restarted because he said that he wanted to have it, and I was like, well, but it's not finished. So I had to finish it in a way. And then while I was figuring out how to get the duck to work with the shadowing and stuff, I thought, well, maybe I can use a white jelly roll pen and do those gorgeous 3 spots on the cheek. And if I put one of those spots right underneath the eye, where the bleeding started, then we sort of break through that line of the bleeding. If that sort of seems logical. Can you follow me in that? So here it's still really visible in my opinion. And even though, if we could mask it, even though I have added those 3 dots, I know that there is an issue there. And I cannot see past it. And it's really annoying, but the 3 dots really help. So I added one of them right underneath the eye, and this way it's sort of, you know, the harsh streak, the first one that went outside of the lines, you can barely see it now. So that was a solution, but I still know that I went outside lines. Well, not that, but that there was some bleeding. So, well, I decided to leave the duck as it is and then go on with the hippo. And it took me a while to get also the shadowing in this one. I don't know. I was really happy with the background, so I didn't want to give up. Since it's the hardest part, I always say let's start with the hardest part. If that doesn't work out, then you can still start over instead of already coloring the image and stuff. But then after doing the hardest part, it appeared that the other parts were, well, also hard to get done. So struggling all the way, but I love the end result, so it was worth the struggle, I think. But I will never redo this card. Never, ever, ever. That being said, I'm just working my way, and as you can see here, there isn't a lot of definition right now. So I am adding a darker W. So the W6 will be for on the right side where we have really the shadowing, and then where there is an overlap, for example, the underneath the chin of the hippo, and well, just there. I'm adding it and then using the same markers to blend it out towards the lightest marker. And that's how I went back and forth. Now also the arm, the right arm, from our perspective, was a bit strange. I sort of misshaped it, and I didn't like it. So then you have, of course, the colorless blender that you can use. Another thing that you can do is use a really light marker, because that will also sort of push the other colors away, which sort of has the illusion of using a colorless blender. You will see it at the end of the coloring here, but here I'm just making sure to add the darkest color again to really emphasize those shadows. And normally I say 2 layers are enough, and definitely, but with Noline coloring it's sometimes really hard to get that dimension across, so therefore I really went back and forth quite a while on this image. It was, and well, this card took me a while, let's just put it like that. So here with the W2, as you saw, I used it really well on the arm to push those other darker colors a bit away. Then I needed my heat gun to let the paper dry, and then I could go back in with the markers to get it to work. And then since I did the back, again, I just thought that the face wasn't the same darkness, so I had to add a bit more to the face and really go back and forth a lot. But I'm almost done, almost. And then I will add the sentiment, doing some white heat embossing on that darker area of our circle. I'm using one of the sentiments in this stem set. They are adorable, mostly birthday related, and I just love making a birthday card. I always am lacking birthday cards. So I'm just using one of these honey sentiments. And the white embossing powder that I'm using is that one from Ranger, the super fine detail. Always handy to have in your craft room, a super fine detail embossing powder. So once everything was heated, I needed to buff off the excess of the anti-static powder. And then I decided to also add a few dots on the cheek of the hippo to have it sort of matching with the dark. And then there is like a little glow on the balloon that I added in black, and I didn't like that in the end, so I wanted to have it white, so I just went over that with my white jelly roll pen. And if you want to, you can add more details, but I really like the simplicity. Well, simplicity, this background isn't really simple. It's already, it's already fancy enough, so I didn't mind adding maybe embellishments or not. I found it like beautiful as is. We all know that there was some bleeding, but well, we just ignore that. So that is my card. A lot of Copic coloring. Truly, it's only Copic coloring. But I really like how it turned out, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that maybe showing you how I create these backgrounds can help you as well. We are all on an adventure to get to know mediums and to go outside of our comfort zone from now and then. So I hope that I can help you in any way. I really had fun. I hope you do too, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it, and I hope to see you back next time. Bye!